Hello, welcome to Niger Mom in the UK. My name is Samina Sayodele. I'm a Niger mom living in Wales in the UK. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you why you need to prioritize driving in the UK, how you can go about getting your first provisional license, and how you can start preparing for your theory test. If you are new to this channel, happy that you click on this link to watch this video because it's definitely going to benefit you if you are just moving to the UK, or if you are planning to move to the UK, or if you have someone that is planning or just moved to the UK, especially if you are a mom. Please subscribe to this channel for more videos, so I'll jump on it. The first reason why you need to consider how to start driving in the UK as soon as you enter is because transport system is not the same everywhere, and you might not have idea of how it works in wherever you are planning to go. For example, in Wales where I live, there are some places that you have to wait for like 40 minutes before you get onto the bus if you are not driving. So imagine having an appointment for maybe 11:30. That means you have to be out by 10 minutes to 11, last like 10:50, just because you want to wait for a 40-minute bus, because of the population and because of the frequency at which the vehicles are moving, the buses are moving. So which is why it somehow just puts you at a disadvantage of waiting outside for a long time at the bus stop, waiting under a cold weather, you know. But when you are driving, you can even leave your home like 15 minutes to or 20 minutes to the appointment time and you go. And it's a long journey when you enter the bus. It's a very long journey when you enter the bus, where you are supposed to go in 10 minutes, you find yourself spending like 25 minutes on the bus because you are not driving, because the bus will be stopping at every bus stop, dropping passenger, picking passenger. So it's kind of waste your time. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't enter the bus. I entered the bus for like the first or second year when I just moved to the UK, but that was because number one, there was COVID. I couldn't go ahead to book my theory test on time. Then number two, I didn't pass my practical test on time. But imagine if I had started earlier and if there was no COVID lockdown as at that time, I wouldn't be at that disadvantage of waiting for a vehicle for a long hour and waiting under a very cold weather, you know. So that is one of the reasons. The weather is not the same as Nigeria. You find yourself spending so much time at bus stop. And even for cities, there are some locations in London. When I went to London, I realized that, oh my God, some places are just like living in Lagos, because you enter a bus and you are standing, because there's so many people inside the bus. So you have to just stand, like, you know, the way we stand inside BRT in Lagos. This is number one reason. The second reason why you need to prioritize driving and not delaying your driving as soon as you come into the UK is, especially if you are a mom, is because it's not easy going out with kids when you are not driving. It's not easy going out with kids. I'm saying this because I'm a mom of 3 kids, and the first time I went out without my vehicle, I decided to try commercial bus just to catch some fun. Believe me, I lost my bag. Tell me that is carelessness, I admit, but I'm going in my vehicle. I can carry as much things as I can. If I need to visit a friend, if I need to travel, I can carry extra food. I can carry enough things, and I wouldn't have to worry about losing any of my bags. I wouldn't have to bother about losing my kids losing any of their belongings. So it's much more easier and comfortable for you if you have kids and you are driving in the UK. Much more easier for you to move, much more easier for you to pick your child from school, much more easier for you to pick your child from the nursery, or like when you are waiting for bus, you know. So that is another reason. And the third one is because of the weather. I mentioned that before. The weather is not the same thing as it is back home, so it's not somewhere you can just say, oh, let me just go. It can be snowy and you will just be like, oh my God, how do I get out today? Or you go out and you just find yourself shivering at the bus stop, even when you are putting on a big jacket. So these are part of the reason you wouldn't want to delay your driving when you come to the UK. You need to start preparing immediately on how to get your license and start driving. And then the most important thing, especially if you have not been in the UK, if you are still planning, if you still have a long way to go before coming to the UK, is if you haven't learned how to drive, please do that while in Nigeria. Although Nigeria is not one of the designated countries that you can use its license to start driving in the UK. You still need a UK license, but you are permitted to drive for at least 1 year. You can still drive for 1 year. You can still drive for 1 year with your Nigeria license when you come to the UK. So which means immediately you come in, if you can afford a small vehicle, you can do that and start using your license to drive. You won't even have any idea of the struggle of using a commercial vehicle to move around. So if you can learn driving in the UK, if you haven't learned before, especially as a woman, I know when I came in, one of the things my husband insisted on me doing was reading for my theory test so that I can start driving. But I took that as one of those things. It wasn't really interesting for me. I came with pregnancy. All I wanted to do was sleeping. So I wasn't really, I wasn't really taking it serious. But my dear, when I gave birth, I knew that I needed to jump on this. It was tough for me, especially going for my antenatal appointments, going for this. It was stressful for me looking for vehicle. And my husband works within it. We live within the hospital where he just treks to work. So he doesn't really need a vehicle per se, So if you are driving in Nigeria, it's another advantage when you come here, because number one, you can drive within the first day when you came. Number two, by the time you start learning how to drive in the UK, this time around, you are not just learning about the vehicle, how to move a vehicle. You are learning about the UK driving system. You are learning about the road sign. You are learning about every other things apart from knowing how to drive, how to move a car, which will reduce the time you are spending to learn. It will reduce the money you are spending to do that, and it will also boost your confidence to jump on the road and start driving. So if you have not done that, please do that before coming. Learn how to drive before coming in from Nigeria. Get your license before coming from Nigeria, because it's going to really help you when you move to the UK. Now, what do you now do when you move to the UK with a Nigeria license and you started driving? You can apply for a provisional license as long as your visa says you are going to be staying in the UK for at least 185 days, and as long as you are above 17 years old, and as long as you can read number plates 20 meters far away from where you are, you can apply for provisional license. Provisional license is one that is a temporary license that will allow you to go and sit for a theory test, for a theory test on how to drive. So the first step is to apply. You can do that online on a DVLA's website. DVLA is Drivers and Vehicle Licensing Agency. You can apply on their website, or you can pick a paper application form from the post office. If you want to apply online, all you do is to go to that website. You'll find the link in this video description. Go to that website, fill all your details. You'll be needing your national insurance number, which you'll get by the time you come into the UK. You'll be needing your biometric residence permit, which you put together, and a passport photograph. You put in an envelope and send to DVLA website. And then when you want to apply offline, that is, you want to do the paper application, probably you are finding the online application stressful or not going through, you just walk into your nearby post office. There are post offices everywhere, so just search for post office near me on your Google. Go to a nearby post office, pick up an application form, and then when you pick up an application form, you now have to attach all those other documents, like your you put details of your NIN, your BLP, and a passport photograph, and you send to the post office. And if you are applying online, it will be much more easier, because you can pay with your debit card online and then send those documents to DVLA. So after like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, your provisional license will be sent to you via post to the address, your home address. It will be sent to you, and immediately you get that, you can start looking for a date for your theory test. Before immediately you made up your mind to start applying for your provisional license, you should start reading for your theory test. You don't have to wait until you get your license. Start preparing for your theory test. How do you do this? Well, there are books in bookshop where you can get around theory test. There are books that explains all these things they are going to ask you when you go for the test. There are different apps. If you go to Google or Play Store, I don't know about iPhone, I'm not using iPhone, but if you go to on Android, if you go to your Play Store, you can just type theory test application. Some are free, some are with subscription. I use the ones with subscription because they are much more detailed and helpful, and the subscription are maybe around £4 or £5, which you can share with even family members that are preparing for the same exam. So you can use the application to prepare for the exam, and you can also buy books to read. I prefer to use the app because it's not easy reading the books on theory tests. It was really boring that time for me. So then before the test date, you would have gotten your provisional license, which you will take to the test center. This time around, when you are booking online, you should factor how you move on the test date so you won't get late for the test. If you are driving, good for you, because you can easily just drive to the test center and either the one that is closer to you or the one that is a little bit far, if the only date available is the one that is a little bit far from you. Or if you are not driving, if you are going by public transport, for example, it is advisable to pick a date at a center that is closer to you, so you don't get stranded on test date, or you don't get delayed because of using public transport to the test center. And well, once you pass your test, what else? That is the first part of it. You start preparing for your practical test. In my next video, I'll be sharing with you details of how to go about the practical test. A lot of people wonder, there's nothing special in UK driving test, especially when they see people celebrating their success, when they see people celebrating that they passed the exam. There are many things special about it. As a matter of fact, I wrote my own practical test like 3 times. It was one of the toughest exams I ever sat for. So it's such a big deal if you pass the practical test in the UK. It's such a big deal, and that is why you don't just take it with, oh, it's not just test. It is a big deal, and you need to prepare for you. Please watch out for my next video on how you can prepare for that, the support you need, the encouragement you need, the confidence you need. All these things, I'll be sharing them in my next video. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel to encourage me to come back more for more content, valuable content, insightful content, interesting one that will help you to navigate life easily as you move to the UK. I wish you all the best. If you have any questions, any addition, please drop that in the comments section below, and I'll be happy to reply you. Thank you. Bye.